Just up the road from Llanfair Pwllgwyn, gallwch go gerach Windrobwll, Llantysilio go. The temperature got to 21 Celsius.
Ryan, what's it look like out there?
Yeah, it looks like snow, just like I predicted in my forecast from the studio. I'm not sure why I'm out here literally looking around. It looks like snow. You could just take a video of it snowing and show that. Why do I have to be here?
I've never been on live television before, but apparently sometimes I don't watch the news because I'm a kid, and apparently Grandpa just gives me a remote after we watch the Powerball.
I didn't put gas in. What? I didn't put the new gas in.
There's two kinds of guys. There's the smart fillers and the fart smellers. And we're not going to be fart smellers.
What the
Hey, I'm back. So it's been quite a while since my last video. When I last posted, I had finally got the car started and had taken a few short drives around the block. While running, the engine was stalling on hard braking, had a pretty serious case of the squeals under the hood, was blowing hot air into the cabin, and most disturbingly was leaking fuel between the upper and lower halves of the fuel distributor. Yeah, you know, the fuel distributor I sent out to be refurbished. More on that later. Needless to say, I was pretty disappointed.
I was a little despondent about the meltdown.
By this time of year, the weather was turning cold, the holidays were upon us, and I ended up taking some time away from this project before I totally lost my mind. So, several months later, here I am back with renewed energy to get this girl back on the road in time for the spring and summer cars and coffee events. So, the engine stall and brake issues turned out to be a vacuum problem. Consulting the Bentley service manual, there is a test that can be performed to evaluate the integrity of the vacuum booster, just as several of you pointed out in the comments on the last video. I guess the thought is that if there's a loss of power to the engine upon braking, there must be a vacuum leak somewhere in the system. While I didn't capture any video of me doing this test, I did determine that the booster was just fine. With the brake booster ruled out, the next thing to check was the check valve into the booster.
Alright, so I'm going to try to figure out what's going on with these brakes. I simply took off the vacuum line coming right from the intake manifold that plugs into the brake booster right there, and it's nothing more than just pulling that straight out. It's got a couple ridges on it, and it comes right out of that booster. So there's one check valve on it. This is not a check valve, it's just a connector. And if I'm here, it shows the direction that the valve will operate. So in theory, if I blow on this side, you should be able to get air coming out of this side. And then if I blow on this side, and if there's air coming out of here, then that means that this check valve is bad.
What?
Let's do the blow test.
That's what she said.
Alright, so here again is that tube. I've inspected it. The connections look good. I don't see any cracks along this line. This is like a rigid tube. So, you know, I found a couple of them on eBay where it comes with the check valve. You can't just get this on because it looks like this is heat shrinked onto this check valve. Again, the direction of airflow should go this way. That's what the little line on this valve says. So if I blow into this side, capping off this little tube, I should get airflow out. And I do. So you can hear it when I blow and there's no restrictions. Now, if I go the other way, it should not allow it to come out because this is a one-way check valve. And I can't. So this valve is working correctly. This is not the problem.
So, with those two tests out of the way, I happened to notice that the vacuum line, which was attached to the check valve that ran to the washer fluid reservoir, was cracked. Until I could get a new vacuum line, I simply plugged it with a screw to see if that had any effect on the brakes, and lo and behold, once I plugged the line, the engine stalling issue resolved itself. With the engine stall addressed, the squeals turned out to be a result of the belts being too tight. That was an easy fix. And the hot air in the cabin is most likely also a vacuum problem, but for the moment I'm just manually closing off the valve to the heater core.
Is that gasoline I smell?
Fuel leak, however, was something that I was not going to deal with since I sent it out for rebuild to begin with.
Leaky pipes can cause major damage.
So here I am removing the distributor from the airbox, packaging it up, and sending it back to be reworked. Several weeks later, it came back.
After many cuss words and trials and tribulations, I think I've got this thing plumbed back in. Got the lines routed the best that I think I can to keep them out of the way of things. Next thing is to charge up the battery and see if we can get this thing started, and cross our fingers that there's no leaks. All right. Tell she's running. Fan came on. Doesn't sound too bad. Here's the key thing. Then I don't seem to have any leaks around fuel filter or the distributor at all. So nothing coming out. It appears from the two clamshells, the top and bottom. It looks like all the crush washers are holding. Everything was torqued to spec, but it seems like it's doing all right. We have been around the block once or twice. I do have a light coming on, although there's got obviously pressure. I do have, looks like the water temperatures, the engine's up to operating spec, and then the oil temperature's coming up too. So she's idling good, maybe a touch high, although maybe that I have to look at what it's supposed to be. About 1200, maybe that's about right. So I'm gonna let her run for a couple minutes, make sure there's nothing else leaking. There is a small oil leak coming from the pan itself, and it's just the nut. So maybe it's not in tight enough. But yeah, everything else looks like it's going good. It does definitely need an adjustment on the clutch. or maybe I'm just used to the Porsche clutch, but she drives fine. So let's take it out. All right, so let's take it out. We've taken it out a couple times before, but she seems to be running pretty smooth, and again, no leaks. And idling super, super smooth. And I'm glad that CIS was able to get it sealed up this time. Time will tell, but it looks like it's working right now. I do have a guy that I found here in town that is no longer working a full-time job, but he's retired, and he apparently was one of the CIS experts when he was working at a local shop, and I've contacted him, and well, there's so many bells and whistles and things to adjust on these fuel distributors. I don't know how to do it. I don't want to learn how to do it. He said he'd be happy to look at it. So once I get this thing licensed and registered and insured, and we can get an alignment on it, we'll take it over him. I just know him by his name, Tony, so hopefully Tony will be able to check all the pressures and make sure everything's working good. Otherwise, we're driving again. Now you can see there's some issues with the wipers not going down. And I am hearing again that whining noise on the brakes when I hit it, which I thought I got rid of. That was a vacuum issue. So there's still a bunch of stuff that needs to be fixed, but the tach's working again, which is good. All right, well, she's up to temperature. I'm gonna pull her back in the garage, but I think we're rolling. Hasn't blown up, hasn't caught on fire. Nothing appears to be leaking. Yep, fan came on. See if I can get these windows up. You can do it, you can do it. Oh crap. Try yours.
This?
Yeah. All right. Success.
A few moments later.
All right, well, let's see. I took it out, got it up to temperature, sat for about 10 minutes, and I wanted to keep checking as the residual pressure bled out of the fuel system, whether this thing was gonna leak or not. And don't you know, right here, between the two halves, I can see fuel bubbling out. Right in here. Now it looks like it's only on 1/4 maybe, although I can see wetness right there too. Damn it. Ah! So maybe this journey isn't over yet.
No shit, Sherlock!
One eternity later.
All right, well, here we go again. Got it back. And let's hope that this is gonna solve the problem. This is the second time it's been back from warranty service for leaking. Okay, so here's the thing. As soon as I pulled this thing out, I knew immediately this was not the one I sent them.
What?
I could tell by the badging. So it's the same part number, right? It's the same fuel distributor part number, but it is not the one that I sent them.
You serious?
And it's interesting. This casting was not the same. This casting and this casting was not the same either. So they have sent me back, hopefully, a fuel distributor that's been tested and worked. Obviously, you can see they've got their torque verification on here, on top and on bottom. Hopefully this is a primo one, but this is not the one that I sent them. This is not my original off of this VW. You know, it doesn't bother me. It is interesting. I don't know if they tried to fly it by me. There was absolutely no note in here saying it one way or another, but this is not the one that I sent them. Crazy. Something to know. Well, got her in almost, except they forgot to send this little interface, so I can't put the last line on.
Well, that's great. That's just fucking great, man. Now what the fuck are we supposed to do?
Damn it. It's one thing after another, man. I tell you what. So, I'm gonna have another week of wasted time waiting for that to come in. One thing after another.
A few moments later.
All right, so we got the new fuel distributor in. Something in the back is really rattling. I mean, like bad. I don't know if it's the exhaust hangers or what it is. It was kind of a rough start, obviously, getting this new one going, but it seems like it's settling down a little bit. I've still got my foot on the gas, but it's running again. We'll probably take it around the block a time or two and then sit it again and see if we got leak. I'm hoping that we don't have another leak. All right, so here's the distributor so far. It looks dry. Oh, now we got a little bit of pulsating in the engine. Well, you know, we got a couple things fixed. Still a couple more things to go. Obviously, it's not running nearly as well as it was before. Don't know why I've got a huge rattle in the back end. That's got to be figured out. And now, instead of a steady idle, it's surging. It's so I don't know. I think it's time to get it over to my buddy who's the CIS guy and see what he can do with it and play around with it a little bit. Still got a whine back in the back when I hit the brakes, but it looks like it's been almost an hour since I've been out. There's obviously residual fuel pressure that's bleeding off, and I've taken a look at the fuel distributor at least a couple times, and it looks like it is buttoned up. So hopefully that's one more thing I can not worry about anymore, get it checked off the list towards getting this girl back on the road. So as always, I appreciate y'all stopping by to take a look. We'll see you in the next one.
The